What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Iron Nutrition podcast. I'm your host, Anson. I'm joined again by Brad Ferrugia. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me on once again.
Yep.
Looking forward to this one.
Absolutely. We got a juicy topic for you guys today. All the hype in the industry, peptides, PEPTIDES, whatever you want to call them. But specifically, we're going to kind of focus in on MOTS-C because Brad here has just had a recent experience with MOTS-C, and it's something that I've been looking into for a couple of weeks now just because it's very interesting. And our coach, Joseph Percher, has been talking about it a lot, so that's been one of the reasons that I've been looking into it personally. So I guess just to get things started off, what is your experience with MOTS-C and what caused you to look into it for yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to preface this by saying, this isn't one single isolated variable change in my plan. Ideally, I would have liked to see what it did on its own, but just the timing with everything, I'm currently moving into a cruise. So there's a lot of moving parts going on. But what I've seen in my blood glucose in the last few days, it's remarkable. So I just want to share that. So basically, I've been using MOTS-C 2 milligrams first thing in the morning before my fasted cardio. And
question on that is that IM or sub Q? Because you hear a lot of different opinions on that.
I've just been using it sub Q.
Okay.
That's how I take all my peptides. So,
okay.
So 2 milligrams sub Q. So far, I know it's not a ton of data, just being 5 days, but the changes have been remarkable. So the prior 2 weeks before using it, I'm going to be honest, my blood sugar levels were pretty horrendous by my standards. So, I did pull up a chart here so I can kind of convert the measurements because I know probably mostly American listeners, so I'll speak your language. So
I forgot about that.
My fasted levels for the last 2 weeks, at the lowest was about 100, and that would be a good day. But most days upwards 110 to 115.
Okay.
Fasted levels, and between meals, about an hour and a half, 2 hours post eating a meal, I would still be upwards of like maybe 115 at the lowest. So, and sometimes as high as 130.
And for context, people, for context, ideally, people, we want to be, I would say below 90, maybe even into the 80s. About 2 hours post meals. If things are cranking, so if we're in a good spot.
It is worth mentioning, though, there is like a bodybuilding standard, and then there's like a wellness standard. Like, by no means would a doctor be concerned by my blood sugar being that high between meals. Maybe the fasted levels would be a little concerning. But, as long as you're not like sitting at like 200, a doctor's not going to really bat an eye at it. But yeah, the bodybuilding standard for like optimizing nutrient partitioning and all that good stuff, you want to ideally be below 100 in between meals. It's if you could get in the 80s and 90s, if you're pushing a ton of food, like that's fantastic. But I think like if you're pushing over 1,000 grams of carbs, if you could get it down to 100, like you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, context. Like before we got on the pod, I actually had to eat a meal. I wasn't planning on it, but I had to eat a meal because I was driving home and I was sitting at like 75 by the time I got home. It was 62 before I ate my meal, and I'm actually at exactly 1,000 grams of carbs. So
when you get that low, like can you feel it? Do you start getting symptomatic or no?
I feel fine all the way down to like 50, man. It's weird.
Yeah. It's weird though, because I have gone hypo before, like when you're in like a diet or whatever, at the end of a cardio session, you'll go hypo. I have checked it before and my levels weren't even really that low. And then I've got readings that were lower than that and I didn't feel anything. So it's kind of weird. I don't know if there's always like a direct correlation or there's obviously other variables, but so anyways, previous 2 weeks, like I said, levels were riding super high. Now, after just starting MOTS-C at 2 milligrams per day, fasted levels consistently under 100. Today was actually a little higher for some reason. I'm not sure. It was at about 100, but I've been anywhere between 90 and 100.
Okay.
And every single, I think there's maybe been one meal where after about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I was sitting above 100. Otherwise, I'm in like the 80s and 90s, which
Hmm.
is crazy. It was a huge swing, like just like that. Like I said, there were a couple other changes to my plan. So we've also dialed back the growth hormone,
Hmm.
which would obviously play a role. Um, for anyone that hasn't listened to the previous podcast I was on, for my rebound, I was running a pretty high dose growth hormone, 18 units a day. So we brought that down to 10.
Hmm.
And so I'm sure that's playing a pretty big role. But I don't think that alone
Yeah.
would have such a drastic shift in blood sugar levels right away.
Hmm.
As well as we pulled back some food, a pretty good amount. I don't know the exact number, but probably around 200 to 250 grams of carbs we pulled back.
Oh wow. Okay.
Again, again though, I'm still eating probably close to 1,000 grams of carbs,
Yeah.
if not 1,000. So, how much that really played a role, I'm not sure. So, and even today, after my second meal before my third, I was down to 80, which I haven't seen that number since like contest prep. So,
Nice.
you know, I'm fairly certain there's something going on with this MOTS-C. Like I said, pretty early in the experiment, but the results I'm incredibly happy with. Um, and why it's such a good option for me is because I've tried to use Reddit before. Body does not agree with it. Gave
Hmm.
it a fair shot twice at very minimal doses. Destroys my digestion.
Hmm.
Really bad bloating to the point where it's painful at
Oh.
times. So yeah, with Red off the table, you don't have a ton of other options. So when I started hearing about MOTS-C having some pretty positive impact on insulin sensitivity, it seemed like a no-brainer. And
Hmm.
so far, and hopefully I don't have to retract these statements, but so far it's looking like it might be a game changer for me.
Nice. So a few questions I have on that. First and foremost, because I know people are going to be interested in this as well. You are doing insulin with that. So what does that look like?
Yeah, so using long and short acting insulin just on training days. So
Okay.
that's a good question because um, today, even I'm on a rest day today. My food is nearly identical on training days and rest days. Only difference is one of my meals, there's some reductions
Hmm.
in it, but otherwise, still tons of food on rest days. Not using any insulin today, and I was down to 80 between one of the meals. Anyways, insulin wise, using Tresiba 20 units
Hmm.
um, as my long acting insulin, and then post workout down to 15 units of Humalog. Um, so
And you said
I don't
post
know. It's
workout?
yeah, post
So
workout.
so
Yeah,
no pre workout, just post workout.
yeah, no pre
Okay.
workout.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and for those who are not familiar, Tresiba is it twice as long as Lantus or slightly longer than Lantus?
Uh, yeah, I don't think it's. I think it has like a 24-hour half life.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say they're probably basically interchangeable, but
Okay.
I believe Tresiba has a longer half life and a more like stable curve of its release. It's more
Mm,
of like a flat curve, I guess you would say.
okay. And then another question, because I've been brushing up on all this today, like during my walks and stuff. I would be watching some videos on MOTS-C, reading some stuff. A lot of people actually seem to have some weird site reactions, or some people even get anaphylactic shock from this stuff. Now, I believe that is at much higher doses, to be fair. But have you experienced anything like that? Like any site reactions, any weird
Okay, so
experiences?
definitely no anaphylactic
Yeah.
shock. So knock on wood there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do get a, how would I describe it? It's not a stinging. It's like a itchy, sensitive
Mm,
spot on the injection site. I want to say it lasts for maybe 10 minutes and then it
okay.
subsides. So yeah, it gets red, itchy. Nothing that would like turn me off from using it though. But
Okay.
I've definitely experienced that.
Okay, because what I was looking into, it actually seems like that probably is more likely to happen around like I think the 5 milligram mark and higher.
Mm,
That's typically where people will get really bad responses. People would do as high because when this was first coming out, people thought that you actually had to take the whole dose right after you reconstituted it. I don't know what the reasoning for that is, but so they would get 5 milligram vials or 10 milligram vials of
mm,
MOTS-C, and they'd take it all in one go. People were going into
yeah.
anaphylactic shock. Like
Yeah, I
Vigor
mean,
Steve talked about that.
yeah, I mean, my vials are 40 milligrams, so I'm
Oh
definitely
God.
not doing that. But yeah, when I was talking to my coach about it, uh, he recommended 1 to 2 milligrams. So naturally,
The more.
with the bodybuilding mindset, you're gonna go for more. So
Yeah, yeah.
so far so good though. I mean, could I get away with one? I don't know, but
Hmm.
two is working fine. So that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot because I've heard Joe talk about it so much, and now hearing you've had a very good experience with it. I already have some on hand just because there's stuff that you need for contest prep, and I'm pretty far away from contest prep. It doesn't start till May, right? But I'm the type of person where I just want to go ahead and have everything on hand, be ready for that. And I've been thinking it would be pretty beneficial, not just for the insulin sensitivity, but people do. There's some research promoting that it is potentially a myostatin inhibitor, at least to a small degree, which I find very interesting. And then it also seems that a lot of the insulin sensitization effects are not just, let's say you're in an insulin sensitive state or you're getting towards there, that it's just going to stop that. A lot of it also seems to be prophylactic, that it's going to stop that situation from happening in the first place through certain mechanisms. So I've thought maybe for me, because we bumped up my food quite a bit this past Saturday. If we start to see my blood sugar trend upwards, I'm thinking maybe adding in like a half a milligram or a milligram a day or something. And the reason for me I would want to dose it so low is because, like I was mentioning earlier, I'm already in a really good spot. So it's probably not even necessary for me right now. I would just be curious to see what it would do for me. More so, experimentation kind of thought process on it. Not that it's not something that I necessarily need right now.
Yeah. Now, also on top of that, I think it would be great for you in contest prep
Oh,
because
100%.
now I don't know if this is a placebo, but just in general, my sense of well-being these past few days has been a lot better. I was
Mm.
in basically mega sloth mode for the last like 2 3 weeks, man. Just like lethargic, no motivation to really do anything outside of, well, to be honest, even going to the gym a few days, it was like, not that I didn't want to train, it was just
Mm.
like I just don't want to do anything. But these past few days, like mentally, physically, like I felt more productive.
Mm.
Now I don't know if that's a placebo or the fact that, like I said, pulled back the growth hormone, like that's known to make you
Mm.
super lethargic. Just the kind of the mental relief of pulling some food back, moving into a cruise, because I've been pushing the gear for a good minute here. Went from a 20-week contest prep right into a rebound,
Mm.
pushing hard pretty much the whole time. So, there is a lot of like mental and physical relief knowing you're going through that. So, could it all
Mm.
be tied into that? I'm not sure, but just I think it's worth mentioning that maybe the MOTS-C is having some influence on that.
I think it absolutely is. And you do have all these different vectors coming together to equal response to where you're going to be a lot more energized, right? With the pulling of the growth, the slight reduction in food, MOTS-C, stuff like that. But MOTS-C absolutely does increase energy production. Like we know that. That's actually scientific. And another interesting thing about it actually is one thing I heard is those of us with sleep apnea, actually, because MOTS-C is a bioidentical hormone. It's something we produce in our body, like to the degree like how we also produce nandrolone in very small amounts, or at least maybe women only do something like that. But people do produce MOTS-C, particularly after like vigorous or strenuous workouts. If you do like hill sprints or something like that, your body's going to produce it. But those of us with sleep apnea, we produce like I think it's like 60% less or something like that. So with me having really bad sleep apnea, I wonder if it would give me a ridiculous increase in energy, even right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and talk like I know a whole lot about, like, the mitochondrial enhancement type stuff, but what I'm experiencing is almost what I kind of think people are trying to explain when they're talking about doing like the high doses of SLU, like that kind of
Mm.
like feeling and energy production. Like I think MOTS-C is kind of giving me that kind of response.
Yeah, because I don't really get that much from SLU either. It just kind of feels like software in the background to me.
Well, how much are you running though? Because
Oh, not a
I feel
lot, not a lot.
yeah, I feel the same way. I'm actually not running it right now, but I was running it at 2 milligrams, and it's
Mm.
like I couldn't confidently say like I was getting anything out of it in terms of like good way you put it. It was software in the background. Like it might have been doing a little something, but nothing that I could like feel.
Yeah.
But there's definitely people reporting that, you know, when you get up into like the 10, 20, 100 milligrams, you know, you could really feel it.
Mm. Yeah, I remember Joe mentioning that on one of the podcasts he was on recently. But that was at like the higher milligram doses, I believe. And to me, that's a lot. You know, like I wonder like how even practical that is to do long term, right? Just because you know monetarily, even if you're getting a great deal and you're buying in bulk, like imagine doing that. Like I think the best way to do it probably is to start low and then titrate up is what I would assume.
Yeah,
Also,
I
just for
mean,
effect.
you're obviously gonna burn yourself out eventually. It's like
Yeah.
I would compare it to something like Clen, you know,
Mm.
it's you hit it hard and then you pull it back. You um but yeah, I think it would be even more pronounced in contest prep though. Like that'd be the
Oh
best
yeah,
time to use the high doses.
for sure.
Just because energy levels are so low, it might be a lot more pronounced if you use it in that time.
Yeah, and I've been running Slew for a really long time. Let's see, 14. It's been well over 20 plus weeks that I've been running Slew. I almost wonder if it would be a good idea for me to pull out the Slew and add in MOTS-C. That way I'm not burning, you know, both at both ends there, because that might be too much. Because these are also both exercise mimetics, which are obviously going to increase calorie expenditure to a degree. So we don't need my calorie expenditure going any higher for the most part. As much as I want it to, we don't need it to. So that's an interesting thought that I just had there. Is I could probably like pull out the slew and put in MOTS-C maybe. Just a thought.
Yeah, I don't think they work under the same like mechanism of action,
No,
but
no,
they're
yeah,
kind of but they have like similar benefits. So it's
yeah,
like, yeah, like you said, burning the candle at, I don't know if I'd call it burning the candle at both ends, but maybe it would just be like it's a
nitrous.
little redundant. It's yeah, like I don't know, like do they stack on each other, or is there like an upper limit of like what you can get out of them? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
I don't know.
would think they're separate pathways. And again, like you were mentioning earlier, I'm very, very limited knowledge on the mitochondrial stuff as well. I'm just kind of going off of what I've heard other people say
Mhm.
and then kind of collecting that and telling it to people. So, is there any other thing that we did not mention about MOTS-C particularly?
I think we covered it.
Yeah.
Like I said, remarkable impact on my blood glucose at this point. I mean, I'm obviously still going to track it,
Mhm.
and if it goes south and something changes, you know,
Yeah.
we could get on another podcast and I can explain that. But so
Yeah.
far, so good. Um, Potential placebo, but you know, energy feels better, cognitive function, just motivation in general.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, a lot of good stuff from it as far as I can see so far.
The blood sugar alone is definitely not a placebo. That's absolutely the MOTS-C.
Yeah. I mean
Yeah.
that's literally like it's data. You know, like
100%.
you can't fake that, right? So
Yeah, energy
yeah,
is this very subjective thing, right? But blood sugar, I mean, that's a literal number. You're seeing it in real time or whenever you're tracking it. So it definitely does something. You know, a lot of these peptides, like I think a lot of people say like delta sleep inducing peptide, that one just does like nothing for some people. So
that's what I've heard. Yeah,
yeah. But like this is one where, okay, maybe it doesn't give you a ton of energy, but at the very least, your blood sugar is going to be awesome on it. So it's worth trying for most people at least.
yeah. Generally speaking, I talk a lot of shit on peptides because I think most of them are useless.
Mm,
My big thing is like all these things you want to get from these peptides, just take more growth hormone and you'll
pretty
probably
much.
get it. You know,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, but this one I could say I have the data backing it, and I would recommend it for sure. As of now, with the limited data I have,
Mm,
I just want to really, I really want to emphasize that. You know, like I'm not like 100% sold on it because
yeah.
it's limited data, but so far, you know, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, and it's not even something I've tried personally, but definitely interested in the near future here.
Yeah,
So this,
yeah,
we were mentioning slew there. This actually goes into one of the questions that I got because we asked for questions on peptides in general, not just MOTS-C. But this question is just thoughts on the high dose slew, like 100 milligrams plus. What would be the difference? You could have you run it that high before, or you said you just did 2 milligrams?
no, The highest I
Okay.
so I started it back in contest prep. I believe we started at 500 micrograms, and I think we maybe tapered it up to a milligram total.
Hmm.
And then just kind of on my own, moving into the rebound, I kind of wanted to see, okay, if I go up to 2 milligrams, what's that like? So that's what I topped out at. So I don't have
Hmm.
any experience with the higher doses.
Yeah, same here. The highest I've taken it actually is, I want to say 600 micrograms. That's it.
Okay.
And I've
Yeah.
not ever noticed any direct like energy or really even the only thing I would really like, notice physically would be a little bit of running hot, which I already do naturally anyways, always have my whole life, just sweating more. So going off of what I've heard, again, for higher dose SLU versus lower dose, it seems to be that higher dose SLU just turns you into a furnace, burning hot like crazy, like almost kind of like DNP, but without the
Yeah, I was
danger.
gonna say like DNP light.
Yeah, DNP without the potential death, basically.
Yeah. Well,
And
as far as we know,
yeah, as
maybe
far as we know, yeah.
maybe no one's pushed it high enough yet.
And
I
that's the
would be
thing.
interested.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to know like how high people have pushed it. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I'm sure people have ramped it up pretty high at this point.
I think I've heard as high as 400 milligrams.
Jeez. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I honestly, I would have thought some crazy fucker went way higher than that.
Oh, I'm
Probably
sure.
have,
Yeah, I
but
probably have.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just for me, the whole topic of high dose SLUs kind of sketches me out. But at the same time, funnily enough, I'm almost starting to see prices for the higher dose milligrams almost be less than the lower dose milligrams just because of the demand. People are wanting to do the high dose. Like I think I saw 70 milligrams, or no, it was like 50 milligrams for like $70 or something somewhere, which is absurd.
And that was in a single capsule.
Tablets, yeah.
Yeah, they were like 50 milligram tablets. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I remember back when all this was first getting started, you'd find 250 micrograms for like $120, $100,
Hmm.
stuff like that. So I really think the only reason for me to even take it that high would be if it becomes that situation where there's so much demand for the higher dose capsules that they end up being the same price or cheaper than the lower dosed, which is kind of strange. But yeah, like you said, there's not a lot of data on it, and with something that is making our metabolism run so hot that we're physically sweating from it, that kind of sketches me out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like one thing I think people don't really take into account is like, okay, how I don't know how to exactly phrase it properly, but like how metabolically dysfunctional are you?
Yeah,
Because I think like if someone is like if their metabolism's in the shitter, they might get more out of a lower dose.
mm,
But if you're like someone like us, like who are athletes in the gym, like your body's basically tranked,
yeah,
you might need a higher dose to elicit that response. Now,
that's
I don't know.
fair. Yeah,
I'm not a science guy, but that's just like the first thing that comes to mind because there are people that take like 500 micrograms and they're like, yeah, during my cardio, I'm sweating my ass
mm,
off. My energy levels are through the roof. And then other people are taking 10, 20, 50 milligrams and, they don't really feel anything, quote unquote.
yeah, that definitely makes sense. And the whole topic of mitochondrial health is just so new. It's so new. I'm
Yeah.
the, I'm the type of person where I'm gonna let somebody else brave those waters before I venture there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not someone that really wants to try and reinvent the wheel. We know all the shit that works, so it's like unless there's a lot of proof showing that this stuff's like a game changer, I don't put a ton of stock into it. I let other people kind of go through that process.
Yeah, definitely. And so, kind of side tangent here. I'm curious what your thoughts on DMP are. Now, obviously, my first and foremost, I don't think I would ever take the shit. I would have to I'd have to test it myself because the likelihood that it could be misdosed or whatever, I ain't fucking around with that. But in general, what are your thoughts on that compound? Have you known anybody who's ran it before?
I don't know anyone who's ran it. Um, Honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest, nothing's really off the table for me.
Mm,
If there's somehow I could look into like a crystal ball and it told me, you know, this one compound is going to be the difference from you being a successful bodybuilder and an unsuccessful bodybuilder.
yeah.
It's not off the table for me because I do know like you can use it intelligently,
Oh
like
yeah, for
every
sure,
other drug.
for sure.
It's just the margin, like the room for error, is just a lot smaller.
Yeah. That's why I say I would be worried about it being misdose. I wouldn't be worried about myself abusing it. I'd be worried about me thinking I'm doing X and it actually being Y. And the thing that is interesting though, I'm curious that you would say that because you've always gotten in shape for your shows, right?
Yeah, but it could always be better, you know.
True,
Like,
true. But I
I
mean,
mean, you could have like that paper thin skin, which is not something I've gotten in good shape, but I've not. There's levels to it, right?
oh, absolutely, yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's just
but
the thing.
I don't know. Like, I'm not saying DNP would be that game changer. Maybe it's just, you know, maybe that time will come when I have more muscle and just have that higher metabolic demand, and you know, just the appearance of how the muscle presses up against the skin. Maybe I'll achieve that level of conditioning up at one point. But kind of my point is that nothing's off the
Oh yeah,
table.
for
You
sure.
know, I want to win. It's pretty obvious I'm willing to take risks with this
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Not that I'm on a suicide mission like I
yeah, yeah,
always
yeah.
say, but you know, nothing's really off the table as long as I'm confident that I'm getting the right like guidance to
Yes.
use it, and yeah, not doing anything like haphazardly.
Yeah, because I know that's exactly what Joe has said is that for a long time it was a no for him, but as the years have gone on, it's become a maybe under the right circumstances. And that would be the same for me. I'm not big on testing things just because of the price associated with it. The only way that I would run it is if I tested it and I knew that it was dosed accurately, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That would I feel like that would be a minimum, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but yeah, I I wouldn't shy away from it. I actually wasn't aware of Joe's stance on it. Last time I heard him speak on it, it was a pretty hard no, so it wasn't something
I could be wrong. Yeah,
I don't I have the feeling like he would probably not ever recommend it
that's a
to
good point.
clients.
That's a good point.
Um,
I didn't think about that. So that was strictly his internal monologue. You're probably correct
yeah,
there for clients. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, I don't have any desire to use it, but like I said,
nothing's
crystal
off the
ball
table.
tells me that
Yeah,
it. Crystal ball tells me, you know, you're gonna win an overall if you use this.
yeah.
Fucking give it to me.
Yeah. So when it comes to using things, I know that Joe's talked about using 5 amino 1 MQ. There's a whole other list of peptides. On your last prep, did you use any of those, or was it just SLU?
Peptide wise, it was just flu, and we tested the water with Retta. But yeah, that was it peptide wise. Otherwise, it was just the traditional contest prep stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I've got a list here of like peptides that basically are worth a damn, and it's like SLU, MOTS-C, AOD, then a bunch of numbers with it, like most peptides, and then 5 amino
Yeah.
1 MQ. So those are generally speaking, just for people who are interested. I think those are the peptides that are like worth a damn for the most part, and I think 5 amino 1 MQ and then AOD, those are a bit more niche. You probably only need those if like you're looking to get inside out sliced as a competitor on stage. I think the average person probably doesn't need those two. But have you heard about the reports of people doing? I think it's AOD. Is it AOD or is it 5 amino? Maybe both. But
I think
either.
AOD is the sorry, I think AOD is the one that's supposed to have like DNP type effects.
Oh no no no!
I think.
AOD is similar to HGH frag. That's what it is. It's anti-obesity
Okay.
drug. And then 5 amino 1 MQ is actually an amino. I don't remember which one of it was, but one of those is supposedly supposed to have site reduction in fat.
Okay.
Because I remember Joe
Yeah, I
talking
don't.
about one of those. He put it in. He had one like top area of the glute that would not get as lean as the other. He put it in that area, and it was noticeably leaner within like a couple days.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's something I would definitely be interested in
Yeah.
using. I know for me personally, um, even going to my show, you know, I felt like I could have been leaner in like I guess like the flank area or like the side abdominals there.
Mm.
I think that's kind of like a trouble spot for me. So, you know,
Okay.
that'd be something I'd be interested in experimenting with.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but
you
generally,
you're good.
what was that?
You're good. You're good.
Oh no, go ahead. I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
Anyways.
So I was going to get into is do you have any other general like stubborn areas because people probably, I'm sure people listening have specific stubborn areas they think they have, but most people have not been as lean as you have been. So with you being as lean as you have been, I think you have a good idea of like what is actually a stubborn area.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I through my whole contest prep, I thought I was fat everywhere. So this is kind of a hard answer to
Well, looking back,
the hard question to answer. So, because I would say everywhere, but definitely lower back and lower abdominals. Glutes come in pretty good. I actually don't think my glutes were that peeled. I think I never before this prep I didn't think I had very good glutes, but looking back at the stage shots and stuff, like I think mine were probably the most developed on stage.
Oh, okay.
With the best lines in them too. So, but I don't even really think they were necessarily that lean. Like I still had a good handful I could grab onto down there. But yeah, just those kind of standard spots that most guys hold the last bit of fat in: lower back, glutes, lower abs.
Yeah, lower abs is a big one for me. If I had to think of like one actual stubborn area, it's definitely lower abs because I have four. You know, like the Nick Walker 4 block. I don't have the it's just like one big piece down there. So since there's not a muscle there that can push up underneath the skin, it takes a little bit longer. That would be like the only real stubborn area I think I have. My hamstrings would always come in, but my glutes would not. But the reason for that is not because it's a stubborn body fat area. It's just because I had no ass. That's why.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that happens this time with contest prep. Like I'm wondering, like, okay, because I've improved my glutes quite a bit, and I've still got till May to do so. I'm curious. It's like, are they actually going to get like ready before my upper body? Because in the past, my upper body, 12 weeks out, I'm ready. Lower body, mainly glutes, 12. I need 12 more weeks.
Yeah. Now, this is complete bro science, but I personally believe that the Stairmaster is king for bringing the glutes in or even keeping them lean. You know, I do Stairmaster all the time, year round, and you know, I've lost the lines in my glutes now, but I think it's also played a role in developing them too, you know, because just the way I step, you know, I drive from the glutes.
Yep.
I don't even feel my quads at all when I'm doing the stairs. I just drive right from my glutes and my hamstrings. So I think that definitely plays a role. And I could only, like, it would be hard to convince me that it doesn't help it become like a leaner area. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you don't have the mass there, it doesn't matter because I lived on the Stairmaster for both of my contest preps. That was the only cardio I was doing was Stairmaster and hit at that, and I still had no glutes. So,
but now would you actually feel your glutes when you're doing it, or are you like a guy that's like driving off your calves or your quads? Or...
No. I wish I would have been driving off my calves because maybe that would have helped them grow a little bit during the offseason.
Yeah, me too, man. Okay, question for you about the glutes. So it was a weak point. You've been focusing on them. They've been a big focus point in the off season. So what does that look like in terms of like exercise selection?
Perfect example, today's leg day is actually kind of a glute focused leg day. So we started off with 4 sets. This is actually, he just bumped up my volume a little bit because of the food increase. 4 sets of hip thrusts. Today was a lighter weight day because I do them at least twice a week. So I have one day where I do them a bit lighter. I'll do 405 for sets of like 10 to 15. Then I have another day where I'll do 495, 5 plates for 6 to 10. So I did 4 sets of 495, or not 495, 405 for most sets fell around the 13, 14, 15 rep mark. I'm decently strong at them for some reason. I don't know why. Then after that, it was good mornings on a machine, like I guess you would call it a pendulum squat, kind of like a good morning machine, so to say. And then after that, leg extensions, leg press, leg curls, abduction, and adduction machine. I may be missing something there. But then another way that I'm focused on them is today, or this week rather, I have 2 leg sessions and a pull session. I alternate between that 4 and the 5-day split. This week, I'll be hitting them 3 times a week because I'll hit them on both leg days and then also on my pull day. So I'll do hip thrust if it's a 4-day split that week. And if it's a 5-day split, I will do the abduction machine. So I did glutes today on leg day, then again on Wednesday on pull day, hit a little bit of glutes on the abduction machine, and then again on Friday, I'll have another leg day where I will do hip thrusts, RDLs, some other glute stuff.
Now, you didn't mention any RDLs, did you?
Yeah, RDLs on the other leg day.
Oh,
So on 2 leg
oh,
days,
okay.
they alternate back and forth. On that
Okay.
leg day, it's a bit more quad focused, but it's everything focused. On that leg day, it is hip thrusts, adduction, leg extension, leg press, hack squat, RDL, leg curl, I think.
Man, that's a lot, that's a big workload for
It
one
is.
one workout, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, big time. That's my
Are you
gauntlet.
pretty are you pretty strong with RDLs?
Um, if they were not that far in my workout, yes. If they were not that far in my workout, I could probably do 5 plates on the Smith, maybe a little more, and have pretty tight form. But I'm usually pretty taxed by that point, so I'm gonna shoot for 3 plates for like 12 or so on this next upcoming. I've been doing 3 plates for like 10. I think I could go for 12 this next time.
Gotcha. Yeah, because personally, I feel like RDLs have been huge for my glute development.
Mm.
You know, and that's mostly just me ego lifting. If I'm going to be completely honest,
It's a
I
good
would
movement to do
like to
it.
get I would like to get more out of my RDLs in terms of hamstring development, but just once I get to the gym, get a little caffeine in me, I just want to load so much weight up on those, and it ends up just all being on my glutes, which
Yep.
really isn't a bad thing. I don't think most bodybuilders are never going to run into a point where they have too much glutes, but
Yeah.
um, but actually on that topic, I'm actually pulling RDLs out for as long as I need to because I've been having some issues with some back pain. So
Oh, okay.
I'm swapping them out for some extra leg curls, which I think is going to benefit me as a whole, just getting more stimulus on my hamstrings. But so I'm hoping by the end of this cruise that my back is 100%. I'm not doing any RDLs until it's 100%, but been doing a lot of like hip stretching and stuff. It's been helping a lot. So
Nice.
hopefully get that sorted out.
Have you thought about getting any deep tissue work?
I don't think it's like a
Not a muscular
I
thing.
don't think it's a, yeah, I don't think it's a muscular thing. I think it's a hip mobility thing because
Okay.
um I mentioned on my story that I was having back pain, and a bunch of people hit me up saying, "Oh, do this one particular stretch. It's the 90-90 hip stretch." I don't know
Yeah.
if you're familiar with that.
Yep.
So I've been doing those every morning, and then most days I'll do like another round before bed. It's super uncomfortable because my mobility is terrible right now, but every day they're getting a little better, and it immediately relieves the pain in my lower back. But it does come back, especially if I'm like sitting for too long. It will come back.
Mm.
Um, like I trained legs yesterday, so it's a little sore this morning, but a lot better than it was. But hoping by the end of this cruise that it's completely subsided. I think I'm
Yeah.
moving in the right direction.
Yeah. So, and on the topic of RDLs, this probably would not be good if you're having lower back issues. But if the focus is hamstrings, wouldn't a stiff leg be a bit more beneficial for the hamstrings?
Uh, I think on paper, yes, but
Okay.
I think it's very contextual because someone like me, I'm pretty long limbed. So my starting position for a stiff
Okay.
leg is, I mean, I guess I could do it better on like on a belt squat machine, which I
Mm.
usually do my RDLs on. But if I'm doing like barbell RDLs or even dumbbells, like stiff legs, not really in the question for that, just because
Mm.
how my limbs are and like just the range of motion and starting position is just yeah, it doesn't work for me. I've tried before.
Have you tried them on a Smith?
Maybe no.
Mm.
I honestly try to avoid the Smith machine
Oh yeah.
as much as possible, just because honestly, because they're always taken, and I'm not trying to deal with that every time I'm working out.
That's
If I'm going to
fair.
be completely honest, and like my gym's loaded with so much
Yeah.
equipment that it's like if I don't want to do something, like I don't have to,
Yeah, yeah, and you have a really good pit shark to do RDLs on.
Yeah, yeah.
Initially, I was doing mine on it's a pit shark. It's not really a pit shark, but the machine we have is just not built for that. It's a belt squat first and foremost. I would
Mhm.
actually have to probably take it apart and set it up in a slightly different way for it to be a really good RDL machine for the most part. So I just transitioned over to the Smith because I know if I do barbell, I'm going to destroy my low back. But on the Smith,
Yeah.
I can still isolate. And also, the nice thing about doing RDLs on the Smith is you can kind of, I'm trying to think how to explain it. You can really set your feet in and kick your glutes out away from your body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, you can literally just focus on like pushing your hips
Yep.
back, which is really what is that's the basis of a RDL. If you want to load your hamstrings, right, it's just
Yeah.
push your hips back as far as you can.
Yeah. So on the topic of training, I saw you did I don't know if it was a single or a double drop set on the leg press. How was that?
It was pretty brutal, man. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I did a drop set on the leg press. For leg training, I typically stay away from intensifiers in general. But I just had I have a bit of a toxic relationship with training, especially leg day, especially because I'm only training them once a week. I just have
Yeah.
this thing in my head where I feel like I need to leave the gym like, or how do I put it? I need to train like it's like my last workout ever, you
Yeah.
know? So I was playing around with rest pauses on the leg press,
Mm.
but yeah, decided to throw the drop set in there. Uh, Man, I might have to run it again next week. It was felt good
Mm.
because at the same time with the weight coming down, like I just felt like it was a lot easier on my nervous system too,
Yes.
um, opposed to a rest pause, you know,
Mm.
and being at the end of the workout, you know, like already pretty beat up. So yeah,
Yeah, I normally do like for example today I did a rest pause on my leg press, my next leg day and my last leg day. Before today, I did a drop set on the hack squat. Seeing you do it on the leg press almost makes me want to flip it just to try it out and do a rest pause on the hack squat and then a drop set on the leg press because I can definitely tell like man doing the rest pause on the leg press is tough. 5 plates on my leg press is heavy as shit and I think I got 22 on my first set of 5 plates today. I only got like 6 or 7 on my second, just from how taxed I
I'm
was.
I'm the same way. That's what I always like when people ask me about intensifiers. Like that's kind of like always my answer. It's like I don't really do them because when I hit failure, like I just like I'm done. You know, like
Mm,
I'm the same way. I can do a set of 20 on the leg press, and then it's like if I rack it for a rest pause, I'm only gonna get like 6 or 7,
yeah.
if that, on the next one. Um, Now I don't know if that's like actual failure or if it's like a cardio thing or like a lactic acid buildup thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, drop sets are just fun too. It like
Yeah,
it feels so good because you're hitting that failure point on a heavier weight, and then it almost feels like a reward when you get to the next
yeah,
tier because it feels so much smoother, and you can just slow everything down. Like the drop set I did on the hack squat with the reverse band, your joints already feel pretty good with the reverse band, but then you're taking a plate off, and man, it just feels like butter, and you can just live in that stretch, and you can sit in the hole. Completely contracting your quads the whole time and explode out. It's beautiful.
yeah. Like the further you drop the weight down, it's like it becomes a different type of hard.
Yeah,
It's like the burn's different, and it's like when you're on that last drop, uh, it's brutal, but like it feels good at the same time, you know.
yeah. Are there? So you said you typically don't do intensifiers on your leg day. Are you a big fan of them on any other body part?
I've been playing around with them on arm day.
Hmm.
Um, Back training, not really. Well, actually, I have one exercise I like to do a drop set on. You know that prime up the upper back row, that the pin loaded one
I think so.
I
Yep.
always post. Yeah, I like to finish that one with a drop set, but otherwise, um, especially because most back stuff's single arm, it's like
Yeah, that's
I don't
tough.
know. It if you start doing intensifiers on like single arm stuff, it's like now it's dragging your workout
Have an 8 minute
on
set.
longer and stuff like yeah. So yeah, back not really. I'm trying to think for like Pressing, not
That's
really.
tough.
Maybe I'll do like a rest pause or a drop set on like the pec deck, but it's not something I do regularly.
Not on a press
It's
though,
That's
right?
one of those. Yeah, not on a press. That's one of those things that's like I won't do it regularly. It would just be like one of those sessions where I'm like really feeling myself and I just want to have some fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for
So not
sure.
very often, you know.
Yeah, I've thought about. I've been playing around for a little bit on my arm and delt day at the end because I only have 4 sets for side raises and 2 sets for rears. So on that fourth and the second, like, all right, let me do a little bit of a drop set just to really smoke them because I only have so many limited opportunities to do it there, right? Um, it feels really good doing that. It makes me want to incorporate it more, right? Like
Yeah,
I love drop sets, man. I'm a sucker for them, especially on like
yeah,
something that's very pump focused, like shoulders or arms. I'm wondering where I could even implement it because the problem is a lot of my delt work and well, no, that's not true necessarily. It just on that arm and delt day would be. But a topic on my arm and delt day that I wanted to mention is wearing the CGM. I'll notice on a leg day, pull day, push day, stuff like that. My blood sugar, if I'm not regularly drinking my intra, it's bottomed out. Like I'm at like 70, 80, even after I just slammed a huge pre workout meal. But on my arm and delt day, not the same. I notice on that day specifically, my blood sugar will run a little bit higher during my workout. So that's where the thought was coming from. Is like, okay, maybe I can add a little bit more intensifiers here.
yeah. Well, I think that simply comes down to just there's more metabolic demand
Yep.
on those heavier days, right? Like
Mm.
I'm the same way. Like even post workout, like I don't track it with a CGM, but post workout on an arm day, like my blood sugar is going to be running a little higher than it would on a leg day. You know, I
Yeah.
think it just comes down to um, a metabolic demand on being different in both those sessions, right?
Yeah, and for like which is a bit different. So like for leg days and back days, I do a bit more insulin. I do Lantus on those days. For push days and arm and delts, I don't. On my push days, my weight, well before the food bump, of course, would typically either stay the same or I might even get a little drop. On my leg days and back days, I would actually notice my weight would do again. It would either stay the same or it would drop a little bit because I guess the insulin just makes me burn through
Mhm.
food quicker or something like that. But on my arm and delt day, it's almost like I'm having too much food on that day, and my weight would actually normally jump up a little bit on that day.
Yeah, like how drastic is it though? Are we talking
Not
like a
big,
pound or?
like a pound or
Yeah,
two, nothing crazy.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, as long as it's like a consistent trend, right? Like, I
Yeah,
mean, I think that's probably to be expected. I'm the same way.
yep,
Like after a leg day, like I'm usually dropping weight, and then some like an arm day, I'm either holding weight or gaining weight. So
yeah. Yeah, it's just I like things being uniform, so it kind of pisses me off a little bit. I'm like, why this is just this one day. It almost makes me think like I should train a little bit harder on that day or something. And I don't know how, if you have you have an arm and delt day, or you have a full upper day.
I I have a full arm day, so
Okay, yeah,
delts are really not a priority for me. So they kind of just get. I do train them like so. I one day a week I do lateral raises at the end of my I guess chest and tricep day, rear delts on the end of my back day, and then I'll do a shoulder press on the at the end of my upper day. So they're not like a priority body part right now. They kind of just get thrown in at the end of a few sessions throughout the week.
yeah. That's basically actually how mine is. I do some side races to start off my push day, some rear delt flies to end my pull day, and then on arm and delt day, I'm only doing 4 sets of side raises and 2 sets of rears. I actually don't have any shoulder pressing programmed in right now for
Yeah, you
me.
know. So I know some people aren't sold on shoulder pressing. I
I like
I
it.
think they've done it. I think it's done a ton for my shoulders personally, and without a doubt, my shoulders are one of my stronger body parts. I don't know if it's causation or correlation,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, I had
yeah,
it. I had it programmed in myself before I started working with Joe, and he took it out, never questioned it, and my shoulders have actually grown better since I stopped doing them.
mm,
I will say I was starting to get some shoulder joint issues because I was doing the most. I've talked about it before. I was doing so much volume.
yeah,
I was probably doing 5 sets of shoulder presses like twice a week. if you like include shoulder press, close grip pressing, bench pressing, all together, probably like 15, 20 sets a week of just straight pressing. Not even talking about isolation or anything. So my shoulder joints were getting beat to shit. So my shoulders feel night and day better since cutting them out. But I also wasn't being very moderate with it. I'm sure I could add them in somewhere at this point, and I would benefit from them. But I'm also, and when it comes to my pressing, I've actually always been a very weak shoulder presser, but a very strong bench presser. I don't know if that's like common or not.
I think that would probably just come down to you maybe being more chest dominant than. See, I'm the other way around. Like when it comes to dumbbell pressing, I can shoulder press more than I can like flat dumbbell chest press.
Yeah, and
Just because like my
oh,
shoulder is
okay.
so much more dominant.
So like this,
Yeah,
you'd literally do like a higher number. Okay, yeah, because I was thinking more like
yeah.
in a ratio. Like I've never shoulder pressed with a barbell more than 275, but I've pressed 400 plus for reps, which is
Okay,
it's a bit of
yeah,
a drop off there.
yeah. But I mean that sounds pretty in line with where most people would be. Like
Okay,
275 on a barbell, like that's a big shoulder press. I
yeah,
I couldn't do that. I'll tell you that.
I think a
Um,
lot, and now, but not good form, not good form at all. But
yeah.
I think sometimes I just don't realize my strength. Like I had a guy comment the other day. I was doing chest supported dumbbell rows with 130s, I think for 12 or 10, something like that. And to me, I don't really see that as that strong because in the past I've been bent over barbell rowing 4 plates for reps. So there's kind of a disconnect there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's all relative, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always kind of hard on myself, like about being weak, because you see guys training on
Yep.
Instagram, they're just ridiculously strong. But at the end of the day, like you and I both, like, I mean, you're a lot stronger than I am, but like even me, like I'm still in like the top 5% of like strongest
Oh
guys
yeah.
in my gym.
Yeah.
But it's hard to really recognize that when you're on Instagram all day, seeing these guys doing crazy shit. So
Yeah, and I feel weak because I'm in a predominantly powerlifting gym. Like not too long ago, I saw a dude squatting 600 pounds with calibrated kilo plates. Like
yeah,
shit's ridiculous.
yeah,
I had a guy
for
ask
sure.
me earlier today because I was our leg press is right beside our squat rack. He was like, "You need this barbell for anything?" I looked at him. I said, "Have you lost your damn mind? I've not touched a barbell in 8 months."
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have any barbell in your programming at all for anything?
No, nothing. But that's a good question, because lately I've been thinking like I want to start getting back to doing
Mm.
like what I would call like the man shit. Like
Yeah,
I want to move some like heavy weight, but at the same time, like I just know like my like the way I train, it wouldn't be productive because
mm,
I would start chasing numbers.
yeah,
Would become ego lifting. I would move the weight, but it wouldn't be conducive to like what I'm trying to do, like hypertrophy wise. So,
yeah.
I would love to like add in some like deadlifts or something, but it just wouldn't pay itself back.
Yeah, and
It wouldn't be worth it.
you have so much good equipment to choose from too. So it's like for you, I'd be like, man, just write out that equipment. But for me, I have such a
Oh,
limited selection of equipment. That's what makes me want to almost kind of get back into barbell a little bit. It's also just cool. I miss it a little bit.
yeah.
I don't miss not making progress. Which for me, when doing the barbell stuff, I was not making nearly the amount of progress I am now. So that's enough to stop me from doing it. But I wonder if there is some benefit there. Do you think there's because we hear a lot people will talk about barbells create a denser, thicker look. Do you think there's any like truth to that at all? I'm not sure if I'm sold on that.
Uh, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I do see guys, again, mostly on Instagram. Like I'll
Mm,
see guys doing like barbell squats, and like they'll have some big ass legs, but it's like, could they achieve that with a hack squat or
yeah.
a leg press? I'm not sure. I It's hard to say. I don't really have any sort of opinion on that, to be honest.
Mm,
I think there is something to be said about like building general strength
100%.
with free weight movements, though. If you're someone that can barbell squat 4 plates for sets and reps, you're gonna you're going to be able to get a lot more out of like machine work than someone that's never done
Oh yeah,
barbell squats. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
because you're going to be able to hop on that hack squat and handle like 5, 6 plates per side. Um, so I think there is something to be said about that. But in terms of like producing a certain look, I'm not sure I could be sold on that.
Yeah, because I feel like since moving away from barbells and dumbbells, I mean, the only dumbbell movement I even have now is incline press and chest supported dumbbell row, and that's just because I don't have a very good T-bar. Those are the only
Mhm.
two dumbbell movements I do. Everything else is cables or machines, and I feel like my look is actually denser now that I've moved away from barbells, just because I'm able to execute so much better.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think honestly, just having more muscle creates a denser look.
Yeah,
Like,
that's all it comes down to, right?
yeah, like people, we want to have our little theories, and bros. Like I'm all for bro science, but I think sometimes it just kind of it can get in the way of some people. Like it got in the way for me for a long time.
Yeah. Actually, though, now that we're on this topic, I think the one thing you can't achieve without free weights, like you're not going to build big ass thick erectors
Rectors, yes,
without doing that heavy barbell shit at some
mm,
point. Um, yeah, I think that's about it, though.
yeah, 100%. And maybe you could mimic it with like Smith doing RDLs or SLDs. I don't think so though. I think you either because I was never a very big deadlifter just because of my lower back stuff. It would always really aggravate my lower back, but I was always a big rower, and I really put a focus on doing heavy barbell rows. Reverse grip is what I was fond of because I knew I couldn't deadlift very much. I think the most I ever deadlifted on a deadlift bar was it was it 585? I think I maybe hit six plates once. I think I hit it once, and then I tried it again a couple weeks later, and I never even got close to it again. So it was like a Goldilocks moment of like just everything was perfect, and I hit it, never could hit it again.
Yeah, yeah. I deadlift like once a year. I don't know if I'm even gonna do it this year, but
Mm,
like every year I seem to put like a plate on my deadlift.
nice.
And it just goes to show like strength is strength, right? Like that's without even like trying to build up that lift. It's just,
Yeah.
carries over from like RDLs and even like I found when I started training because I was really big on like barbell stuff like
Yeah.
squatting, deadlifting. Anytime my squats got stronger, my deadlift got stronger. So
Mm,
I mean I might have a impulsive day one time this year where I tried to pull some heavy weight, but we'll see. I'm
yeah.
not I don't think it will be very productive because
Nah.
because I know I'll need a few days off the gym after that.
Yeah, and you bring up a good topic there. Strength definitely correlates. Like if you're
Yeah.
dumbbell pressing or machine pressing an absurd amount of weight, it's going to translate. I'd be curious to see what I'm bench pressing now. I'll never do it because I'd be terrified of it. Like back when I was pressing in the fours, man, it felt like a full body exercise. Like I could get up from underneath that bar, like sit up, and I just feel like a wave of literal fatigue wash over me. Is
Yeah.
the most absurd thing.
Now I think bench press is a bit of a different animal. I don't think I don't think you would be as strong as you think you might be
Yeah.
if you were to just hop on a bench press tomorrow and try to max it out. I think you would need some time. I think you would need like a few sessions to build up like the mobility, the stabilized, like the stability to do it again. But I
Yeah.
think like after a few sessions, once you got everything locked in, like yeah, you would definitely be hitting some PRs. But it's not like a deadlift where you could just walk in
No.
any given day and it's just like like pick this weight up.
Yeah, I feel like I
And I
mean
guess the
yeah,
same goes with squat, like barbell squatting. You're not
yeah,
just gonna, even if you're like a stronger individual, you're not just gonna walk in the gym because, like there's so much technique that goes into barbell squatting.
yeah.
Um, it, yeah,
There's a ton of tech. Like I have so much respect for the powerlifters at my gym, man. Um, the bench press and the squat, particularly, I think are such finesse moves. Like the amount of form required is insane. And for deadlift, that's absolutely true too. Because the main reason my deadlift was always weak, it wasn't because my back was weak or my legs. I was moving a lot of weight with them. It's just I never had good deadlift technique. I could never get comfortable pulling. But there are some people they just have raw strength and they can just pull a shit ton of weight off the floor.
Yeah, I feel like the deadlift is like the one lift where you could just brute force your way through it if you
Yeah.
really needed to. Like even guys that powerlift that do have like immaculate setup and form. Like there's just some, like if they're in a meet, you know, there's just some days they need to just tap into the brute strength, and you know, their form will break down a bit or whatever.
Yep.
But like some, like a squat, it's like if your form breaks down, you know, there's, I mean, I guess there's some situations where you can push through it, but like if something comes out of line or some, it's like, you know, you're probably failing that lift.
Yeah, they call it misgrooving. You never hear of anybody misgrooving a deadlift, but they'll misgroove
Yeah,
a bench press and they'll misgroove a squat for
yeah,
sure.
100%. Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
All right, well, we're at about an hour here. I think we're good. We said we wanted to be done by 6:40. Perfect timing.
Yeah, that works with me, man.
All right. Well, if any of you guys have any questions for future shows, just any topics in general, leave them below in the comments. If you made it to the last 5 minutes, drop a 5-minute group comment. Appreciate all of you guys. We also have a community Discord server. Me and Brad are both pretty active in that. We've got a nice little community going of, what do you think? We got probably like 10 people in there or so?
Yeah, like 10, probably 10 active chatters.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we got
yeah,
more
we
than
got some
10,
good
but yeah, 10 active.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, so this has been another episode of the Iron Nutrition Podcast. Thank you guys for watching.